All right. Let's talk about your Oregon Ducks. I know they moved in the number 2 in the BCS. Alabama obviously fell this weekend to Texas A&M. Something that I actually wish Alabama would have lost to LSU the week before, but I don't know if you call it really a shock that A&M beat Alabama. I mean, do you really call it a shock by any chance?
I mean, yeah, you can't call it a shock because Texas A&M. I mean, they pretty much just went in there and just were like, hey, this is our house right now, you know. And Alabama, they looked like they were just like they were shocked at how they were playing them.
Especially that happening at home. You don't see Alabama lose a lot at home.
Yeah, exactly.
And then also when the new BCS came out, Alabama fell to number 4. Number 1 being Kansas State. We do not know the status of their QB, Colin Klein. So we'll see what happens with him. He's likely going to try and play. Number 2 is some team that you're deciding to wear because they're ever so popular, the Oregon Ducks.
Oh.
And I can't rank on the Ducks because one of my teams that I actually root for is a Ducks sort. And then your third team, or number 3 in the BCS rather, would be Notre Dame. And in a way, I feel like Notre Dame is still ranked a little bit too high. You maybe could give the edge to Alabama being number 3.
Yeah, well, uh, see, like we said last time. That's why the BCS poll doesn't work because these teams that do deserve to be up there aren't getting that credit that they deserve.
And obviously, if Kansas State loses, Oregon's going to be number 1.
Hmm.
And I see Oregon and Kansas State winning out. Notre Dame, I'm not 100% sure because knowing them the last couple of years, they have been suspect.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
do you see Oregon going to the national championship without being biased here?
Yeah, without being biased, I definitely see them going because you look at their stats right now on paper. I mean, they're the highest. They score the most points in all of college football every game. They average at least 45 to 50 points a game against any team, and the most anybody scored on them throughout the entire year was against USC, and they scored 36 points.
Yep. Now, who do you think Oregon would meet in the national championship? Saying that Notre Dame and Kansas State both lost. Let's start with that factor.
Well, if Notre Dame and K State both lose, then you got to give it to the top number one lost team,
And it's
and
probably going to be the Tide.
yeah, and it's gonna be Alabama, regardless of who they put there.
And then, obviously, if all 3 teams go undefeated, you're going to throw in probably Kansas State because Notre Dame, I think their strength of schedule was kind of weak.
Yeah, I mean I think their mistake was they had to play the tougher teams in the middle of the season when they should have been playing them at the end of the season.
So it's probably going to be a Alabama Notre Dame Rose Bowl if you had to think about it that way.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's what's going to happen. But I mean, if it was up to me, I'd rather see Oregon and Notre Dame in a national championship game.
And imagine if all these teams did lose. Like if all these teams end up 11-1, 12-1, whatever the heck many games they play. I mean, who are they going to put in this national championship? Obviously, the controversy will come up once again about this whole BCS. I know the new format comes in, next year or year after?
It comes in next year, actually.
Okay, but say all these teams, end up losing one game. What's going to happen? My opinion is probably going to be Alabama and Oregon regardless.
Yeah, they said it at least 3 weeks ago or 2 weeks ago that if Oregon wins out and K State and Notre Dame both win out, Oregon still gets the national championship spot.
I mean, I still hate this BCS. It's really a pain.
Yeah, the BCS, I mean, it really stinks. They ought to take that C out of the B and the S, and that's what it actually is.
Yes, it has its moments. Now, jumping off college football, we'll jump to a little bit of NBA because we know Richie doesn't like talking about this, so we'll do it without him. Now, the Lakers hire Mike D'Antoni. We all went to sleep, I think, 2 nights ago, thinking, Phil Jackson's going to be the new coach. Wrong.
Yeah, that was a shocker. I mean, I really thought. I mean, everybody knows that Phil Jackson wants to come back. I mean, he already had his own staff, and people are saying, well, he wasn't really that interested. But why would he have his own staff if he didn't want to go back?
I mean, isn't he dating or at least seeing the daughter of the owner or something?
Yeah, so it's always nice to have that inside track over there in LA.
I mean, also you want to like part ownership and able to take off a couple road games.
Yeah, that was the other thing. I think his demands were a little bit too much for the Lakers. I mean, what they were offering him was what he had prior to leaving anyway. So for him to ask for more than what he deserves, it was a no-brainer.
And I think the dumbest thing I heard from all of this was the fact that Phil Jackson's triangle offense, what it's called, I'm guessing, wasn't going to work anymore because it was like somewhat similar to Mike Brown's little thing that he had. I mean that doesn't really make any sense to me.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. I mean, Phil Jackson's triangle offense revolutionized the game. I mean, you saw what he did with Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, and even Dennis Rodman. He turned them into a dynasty. And when he came to LA, that same offense, he turned them into a dynasty.
And plus 11 rings also says something.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I don't know what else to say about this. I mean, you guys could have hired him. I mean, 11-time winner. How could you really deny it? And then you choose someone, yeah, he's had a great playoff run with the Suns, but then got to New York and, had his problems there. He got to the playoffs once with Carmelo and Amare, but it wasn't enough.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how long I don't know how long this coach is going to last, because I mean, it seems like he's going to be dealing with a lot of egos on that team. I mean, that's Kobe Bryant's team. He's pretty much the coach on the floor.
I mean, I think the dumbest thing I've heard from people during this whole coaching search, I mean, number one, keep the intern. I mean, he's 2-0 so far. But the dumbest thing I heard was making Kobe a coach. I mean, a player-coach thing. Yeah, that's happened before. I know it happens in hockey a lot. I don't know if it happens in football.
It happened in baseball. I know that. Pete Rose was one of those guys.
But you just can't do that in basketball. I mean, Kobe always going to pretty much say, "Give me the ball," because I just like to score every freaking time.
Yeah, and Kobe, he can't do it. He can't do it every day anymore.
Well, he thinks like he could, but he's not. And now rumor states that he's going to try and play until he's like 40, 41.
Good luck.
I don't think he can. And going back to the whole hiring of D'Antoni, he's not even going to be with the team for like the first 2 games. They say 2 weeks, 2 games. It's something with a 2. I mean, they're still going to have this intern, and he's not bad.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Yeah, it just doesn't look right. I mean, it looks like a whole big soap opera happening down there in L.A. with it's like The Decision Part 2.
You really got to go that far, huh? Well, let's check out these scores for today's games, if anyone really does care for the NBA. And the reason I say that is because we already know most of the wins here. We'll start with the Knicks and the Magic. The Knicks are undefeated, the only undefeated team left in the NBA. Who would you pick? Probably the Knicks.
Yeah, you got to go with the Knicks. I mean, come on, that's New York, man.
And plus, Orlando doesn't have anything since Dwight Howard left.
Yeah, I mean, ever since he left the Magic Kingdom, it's been pretty much downhill for the Magic. I mean, the Magic, they're like a stepping stone for a lot of these players now.
And then we have Indiana and Toronto. Richard's team that he always roots for. I would choose the Pacers. I'm guessing you would choose the Pacers as well.
Yeah, Toronto, they need to relocate.
And then get one of the only other teams out of Canada that isn't hockey. Washington and Charlotte, that's probably the battle of who stinks more.
Yeah.
Got to give it to Charlotte there.
Yeah.
Brooklyn and Cleveland. Brooklyn will look pretty good. Oh, we're doing NBA without you. Crazy Richie, everyone. He decided to come on in. We're just finishing up basketball.
Best part, make sure the volumes are all set.
They are set up.
All right, good.
Because last time I obviously messed up.
You did.
Don't remind me.
I wasn't actually even coming in today, but I've run out of things to do now. So.
Then we have Portland, Sacramento. Sacramento sadly will lose, even though I'm wearing a shirt on them. And then the Spurs and the Lakers.
What was that thing that happened with DeMarcus Cousins?
Oh, he got suspended for yelling at a
Sean Elliott.
The PA or something?
The broadcaster, former San Antonio Spurs broadcaster.
Oh yeah, yeah.
He yelled at him, I guess, after the game, and they got mad, and everybody started crying. And whatever.
Well, that is the Kings for you.
I mean, already getting 2 players suspended in the first, 2 weeks of the season?
Who cares? The refs are bought.
The
NBA.
refs are bought.
Yes,
That,
exactly.
just like that saying, NBA, it's fantastic.
Oh, whatever. You know, one thing I'm upset about is I saw actually an article, since we're talking about this crap, is everybody's asking what's up with the Indiana Pacers. It's like they lose their best player. What do you think is wrong with them? They're losing. They guy that scores 18 points a game, and now they have everybody else having to step up, and they're a very young, experienced team. It's
They
common
are.
sense.
I mean, they made the playoffs, and they actually showed some dominance in the playoffs.
Yeah, they should have. Like I said, they're still a young team. 2 years ago, they took the Bulls. They should have took the Bulls to the limit. Should have knocked out the Bulls, but they didn't. And then last year, they almost knocked out the Heat, both number 1 and 2 seeds. So, whatever.
Give them a couple more years, they'll be legitimate contenders.
So this Granger comes back from his knee.
I think the last game we have on tap is the Lakers and the Spurs. Obviously, you heard about the hiring of the...
Martin Tony.
Yes. Are you shocked by any chance?
No.
You never thought Phil Jackson would actually come in?
I didn't really care.
Just like most of us, we really don't care about the
I
NBA.
don't care about the NBA. I think it's just, it's only 3 teams that matter in the NBA now. Lakers, Heat, and we'll name one more, Boston.
Yeah, Boston.
That's it.
You can say OKC sometimes, but it just depends.
No, I mean,
Yeah, it depends on how good they're playing. You know,
and
I mean,
Chicago will matter next year when
Yeah.
Derrick Rose come back, but will their team still be together?
Who knows?
I doubt that.
Exactly. So
Who knows? Maybe Phil Jackson will go back there.
Oh God, so sick of that guy already.
Are you serious?
Yes.
I want to hear your take on this before we go to break.
Because it's ridiculous. It's like Brett Favre. Oh, retired. Oh, coming back. Oh, retired. Oh, coming back. Oh, retired. Oh, I must be the best. I can only coach the teams that are going to win the NBA Finals.
I think we can keep it as simple as that.
That's as easy as it has to be. Name one time he's came back and coached a pathetic team.
I can't say.
Exactly.
And you know what? We'll end it on that note. When we get back, we'll talk about the NFL, what happened in
boy.
Week 10.
Nothing.
There's obviously a game that tied, which
Yes.
we'll mention. We'll be back after this on DC Sports Hour on DC Free 89.5.
Oh.
Delta College Division of Arts and Communication presents As You Like It by William Shakespeare. Opens October 19th in the Studio Theater at Sound King Delta College and October 20th at